So Pumpkinhead is a 1988 horror film that just got a nice steelbook treatment from the one and only Scream Factory that seems to be always popping up these B-movie cult hits. And this one has already been released by them with the slipcover, but that was a while ago. I never ended up getting it. I was pretty excited that they decided to do the steelbook edition of it, and I picked it up almost right away, or close enough to its release, and just watched it for the first time because I'd never seen this film in my life. But from clips and trailers and all that good stuff, it always seemed like a film that was, right up my alley. Loved the look of it, loved the look of Pumpkinhead. Never understood really why they called him Pumpkinhead, because he looks more like a demon bat thing, but yeah, of course that's explained. We get there. I assumed there would be a good old explanation to that kind of thing. But anyway, this is a, well, straight up B movie and cult film. Like, it's soaked in cult epicness. It's really, really short. This could almost be an episode if you shave 10-15 minutes off of it. Like an episode or a pilot to a TV series. Yeah, it's really short, and the plot is extremely simple. They don't really dive into a ton of lore, except for what you'd expect anyway from a film like this. And yeah, it's kind of, it's contained. It delivers what it needs to deliver. The practical effects are the best part of the film, obviously, and yeah, it's a quick watch, and it's very enjoyable for what it is. You start off with this group of kids. Well, film doesn't really start off there, but it starts off more of this. You think it's a period piece at the beginning of the film because it has this whole introduction that takes place in the early 1900s or late 1800s or something like that, and old times anyway. And there's this guy trying to get into this other guy's house, which he's being kept out of because this guy's being chased by some monster. And the townsfolk, because this is a really small town in the past and in the present day where it takes place, where this small town kind of knows everybody, and this guy is apparently he's marked, so he's being, hunted down by this demon who wants to kill him, and this guy who lives in this house with his wife and kid doesn't want anything to do with that, so he's keeping him out of the house and holding him at gunpoint, or, from the other side of the door kind of thing. And he ends up, of course, getting killed. The guy outside being chased, obviously. And then it cuts to present day, and you start following these kids who are city kids. They're coming into this really big hillbilly small town, like really, really mid-boonies kind of town, where you have a population of like 30. It's a tiny, tiny town. Everybody's extremely hillbilly, very dirty. There's like, pigs and cattle everywhere, little huts kind of thing. It's borderline The Village by M. Night Shyamalan, but, it's not pretend like that film was. And these city kids are coming in. They're like motorbikers. They're motorbicyclists, and they come into this town into this little shop. And then there's this father who has this little boy named Billy, and little Billy is playing with this puppy named Gypsy. And right off the bat, there's this kid named Joel, who's the biggest piece of shit, and introduced to the film that way right away. This guy is making fun of Billy's glasses, calling them Coke bottles, and even referring to him as a vegetable and the people of the town as a vegetable. This guy's just, they automatically make you despise this guy right from the beginning of the film. And then he basically goes off. He doesn't want anything to do with these town folks or whatever, and he starts practicing on his dirt bike. And this film goes places right off the bat too, with shock value. I'm just gonna say the shock value is pretty equivalent to Pet Cemetery from 1989, without going into really big detail on what happens. Um, there's something tragic that is along those lines. And like I said, the film decides to go there, and not hold back. But this kid that you despise, Joel, or this guy, I don't know, just some young adult, I don't know, young guy, I would say. When he has this accident, he decides to take off because you learn that he is on probation, he's a criminal, he's gotten into an accident before involving alcohol, and he's basically screwed and going to jail, possibly for life if he's caught. So he doesn't give a shit about anything and anyone. And I really emphasize on how much of a piece of shit he is because of when it comes to the middle of the film where he has his recognition and he's like, I've been such an asshole and this is all gonna stop today. I really didn't buy it because of how horrible he is at the beginning and how much you hate this guy, and then all of a sudden he just turns in the middle of the film. I couldn't buy it. So I have to talk about his character right off the bat, starting off, and that's the film did a good job making you hate him. That's just where I'm gonna leave that. But like I said, I think I like for as simple as a plot. For as simple as the plot of this film is, the practical effects is what sells it. Really, is the look of Pumpkinhead and the creature design and all that. But yeah, I like how the film also quoted that for every wrongdoing that somebody does has a special kind of demon behind it. And I like how the film touched that on where the father of this kid, Ed Harley, wanted vengeance for, what happened, for this tragedy. With the vengeance and with summoning this demon, Pumpkinhead, also comes the pain and torment on himself. So he's feeling the pain just as much as the victims are. And you don't really see too many horror films touch on the consequences of vengeance like that. So I found that really cool and really unique about Pumpkinhead and how they went there. The witch, Lady Haggis or whatever they call her, I think her name is Haggis. She's crazy looking, man. The wrinkles on that woman's face, that must have taken hours of makeup to do because there's no way that she looks like that in real life. I mean, maybe a little bit, but they really enhanced her physical features quite a bit. Back to Pumpkinhead too. I love the size of him, and I love how he carries people a lot by their heads. I really liked how one big method of killing he does is throwing people off trees, like snatching them, bringing them up to tops of trees and dropping them right down. I found that kind of a kick, and yeah, like this film, it's really short and really quick, and there's a lot of quick cuts, and I think that had to do with the budget a lot, but it's not really a negative towards the film. It's not really a complaint towards the film either. I think this film gets a lot of its charm because of that, because of how short it is, and how to the point it is with its themes, and it still kind of plays around with certain messages and certain themes that other horror films of the time and afterwards and beforehand never really touched on. So yeah, I like that aspect to it. I really didn't think it was going to take place in such a small area or small town that it did, but it really emphasizes how small this town is, but how small-minded the people of this town is as well. And the graveyard scene is pretty cool in the pumpkin patch where Pumpkinhead is basically dormant when he's not, out on the prowl or out on the hunt for vengeance or whatnot. But yeah, I thought this film played around with things that you don't really see often, and it was fun, and it was it's better that it wasn't any longer than it was, because it probably would have just overstayed its welcome. But yeah, the practical effects are so much fun, and the gore is good. Could have had a little bit more, but it still holds up as like a classic '80s horror film for sure, or '80s monster movie, you could say. It's definitely in the top tier of those. But anyway, that's Pumpkinhead. I want to check out the rest. I know the Pumpkinhead 2 Blood Wings is out of print on Scream Factory right now, but if I could get a hold of that, I would love to see it, and I would love to tackle the whole 4 of them, which I'm pretty sure that there is 4 of them. But yeah, this one is a classic, and I absolutely loved it, and I love having it in the collection now. These steelbooks are the best. Some of the slipcovers I'm not even buying because I'm just waiting for the steelbooks. And I know Scream Factory is putting out a lot of them that they've already released prior with the slipcovers. So I'm kind of crossing my fingers for a lot of them that they just put them all out on steelbook eventually, and I'll just pick them up that way. The ones that I don't have the slips for. But yeah, that's all I got for that. I will be back for more reviews, so subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews, and I'll be back for plenty more of all kinds of reviews. So stay tuned for that. Till next time, cheers.